Thank you. Thank you all for being here today. It means a lot to me to be up here in front of you. And I want to share my journey with the product that I discovered a couple years ago with the Seestar. I've been a visual person for about 10 years, and I was perfectly content with that. I have a couple Celestron Schmidt-Cassegrain scopes that I'm very happy with, and I love. If it's clear outside my backyard, I'm taking those things out and I'm imaging. But then when I saw what was happening with the Seestar and people sharing these images, and I said, I got to get one of these. And when I got the Seestar, and of course the first thing I pointed at was Orion M42, and I said to myself, I can't believe this. I've been looking at this smudge for 10 years and being blown away by in a visual, and go, oh my God, look at that. And then I see it on my phone with all that gorgeous nebulosity and all that dust and everything. I'm like, this is amazing. This is really revolutionary. And the fact that it's so inexpensive inspired me. And then I was getting all excited. I was using it. And I live in Miami, Florida. The weather is great right now. It's beautiful here in South Florida and the Keys. And in Miami, it can rain a lot. It can be very humid. And then we started getting close to the summertime, clouds, rain, all this stuff. And I'm like starting to get very frustrated. And I said to myself, man, if I could only get this thing out of Miami and somehow use it. And then I was on YouTube one day and I saw this man, Brave Falls, talking in his trailer about how he was wanted to launch a remote observatory and this and that, and then he wanted to make it affordable for people that couldn't get into the hobby because it was price prohibitive, and wanted to make it so that people could get into the hobby, new people or people that have their telescopes stored away because they live in an apartment. They don't have access to clear skies because they're in a light polluted area. The weather in my situation was really frustrating me. And then he said to me, we're going to make this starting at $150 a month. And I said, what? I just called like 3 different observatories and they all wanted minimum $800 a month to host a telescope. One of them hung up the phone on me when I told him I wanted to put a Seestar at a place in New Mexico. It was just loaded with plane wave scopes and big Newtonians and all these things. And I said, I'd like to, can you house a Seestar S50? Click. Like, okay, that was really rude. The next guy called up, he started like, you're joking, right? This is a toy, And I want to say something. I want to get this out in the open, that the Seestar is not a toy. The Seestar is the anti-hobby killer. I think it's bringing more people into astrophotography, into astronomy. We affectionately sometimes refer now in Southern Cross, these people buy a telescope and then they have to figure out, they have to polar align it and balance it, and it's got a German equatorial mount, way beyond what most people are willing or capable to deal with, and hence the hobby killer. They buy it once and maybe look at the moon, and then it's in a garage sale in a couple of years. The Seestar is bringing in people into the hobby. It takes excellent, high-quality deep space images with minimal effort. And also, I remind people, this is not some schlock company. This is ZWO that makes this product. This is probably the de facto leader, you might agree, that in astrophotography equipment, gears, mounts, cameras. So this is not some company that just popped up 6 months ago. And the Smart Telescope is raising more interest in astronomy and astrophotography, the most portable and affordable solution so far. And this is only going to get better and I think more efficient in price and more affordable for everyone. And let's see here. Why I sent my Seestar to Starfront remote observatories. It's in a Bortle one-night sky, very dark. Miami, where I'm at, is a 9. That's like it's trying to image under a floodlight, literally. They have over 220 clear nights a year. fully protected equipment. They have the retractable roofs. People are like, aren't you worried that your telescope is going to get wet or blah, 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 or the wind or dust? It's all handled. I never have worried one moment about my equipment over there. On-site technical support. I don't have to travel, and I still like traveling, going out to the Everglades, going out to Kirby Storter, which is where a lot of Southern Cross members go out there, to Big Cypress, and imaging with our cameras and our visual telescopes. And so it saves time and money in that respect, because to go out to Kirby Storter is like an hour and 15 minutes each way, staying out there, fighting the mosquitoes. Dan, you've been there, we've all done it, you know, we're like lathered in DEET, you know, and trying to manipulate our equipment and stuff like that. So you end up saving time and money, and I can sleep while my Seestar at Starfront is imaging. And let's see here. Typical astrophotography rig, this is, you know, typical refractor, AM5 mount, the ASI Air, the camera, depending on what the camera, this could be $5,000 to $7,000. Now, the quality that you can get out of this is superior to a Seestar. Let me be fully, you know, honest and open about that. But I myself, I don't own something like this. If before the Seestar came on the scene, I might have invested in something like this. But the thought that I could buy almost 10 Seestars for the price of this is something that I often think about, you know, and all the different things that are great about it, but also all the components that could give you an issue, especially in a remote environment. Here is the first image. I don't know if Nate, if you took this picture. This is the first Seestar ever mounted at a remote observatory in the world. This was in August of 2024. It's on a pier in the back of Building 1. I don't know if I got the last pier in Building 1 or whatever, but it's back there. I don't know what was on this side of my neighbor over here, and my neighbor over here, but I'm sure that was a big, expensive rig, many times more than this. And I remember people would kind of rib me on the Discord. It's like, oh, you're the Seestar guy. How's that going, man? You know, like, well, it's going pretty good. You know, it's working. And here's the full image of the Seestar on a pier. My aha moment to make this work in a remote environment was when I realized, because typically you use a Seestar with the app on your smartphone, an Android or an iPhone. But then when Apple released in 2020 all the Mac computers with their M1 processor that runs all the iPhone apps exactly the same way on the Mac as on the iPhone, it occurred to me, I said, wait a second, I had purchased my wife a MacBook Air, the same one that's here now on the M1. Let me see if I go to the App Store and download it. And lo and behold, there's the app for the Seestar. I download it. I connect it to the Seestar and I go, this is it. Now I can log into, with Chrome Remote Desktop, into the MacBook Air. And I went to the Publix and I went to the Costco parking lot. I was like, this is actually working. I can control the Seestar and I'm not on the same Wi-Fi. I can log into it. And that's when I got very, very excited. And it was about the same time that I saw Bray's video about it. And so the Mac is running the Seestar software, the dashboard. Starfront suggested the Kasa IP Power Strip, which is a wonderful product. I actually love this thing. The fact you can turn on and off these individual power outlets from an app. Usually used for people to want to turn on lamps or a fan in their house, but it's great for remote astrophotography because I can power cycle the Mac. I can turn off the power source to the Seestar. And that works out great. And then I've got the little leveler underneath the Seestar. So that was a basic setup, and it runs with one cable with a USB B cable there. So that's
the name of that power strip?
The IP Power Strip, the Kasa, K-A-S-A, IP Power Strip. And it's a great product. I think it's like $40. It used to be like 50, 70 bucks, something like that. Okay, here's a couple of images of my Seestar when it was still in building 1 on the pier. I added a pier camera that's a ZWO ASI 662MC camera. It's about $150. And the red cable is a USB cable that's going to the Mac Mini. So I can actually have a pier cam and look up at the Seestar at night as it's imaging and turning, and I can see the stars moving. Primarily what I wanted to view more than the stars and it moving is the cable, to make sure that the cable was not getting wrapped around the Seestar and causing issues. And I remember I was, in the beginning, I was like, emailing Nate, is there a cable wrap before I had the camera? And he's like, no, you're good, you're good. I was like obsessed. It was keeping me up at night because I said, what happens if the thing gets wrapped, and there have been issues with that, but the camera is connected there and it works great. It works really well. Here is just a couple months ago. This is the same S50 on the Seestar bar. This is a new feature at Starfront where they have a metal beam and they can fit more Seestars on the Seestar bar today. When I was on a pier, when I first started at Starfront on a pier, it was $149 a month. And last year when Josh and you came, Nate, they shared with me, it's like, hey, we have this idea. We're going to make a bar and we're going to be able to get more Seestars in per foot and optimize our space in the buildings. And we're going to lower the price. I go, you guys you're talking the right language here. You are headed in the right direction because a small telescope like this, the swing diameter, the rates like at most observatories and at Starfront is what's going to be the swing diameter of your telescope. The wider it is, it's going to take up more floor space. So this has no swing diameter. Really, it's just maybe less than a foot wide. when the arm is open. And it's great. But here it is on the Seestar bar in equatorial mode. I've got a William Optics EQ wedge. There's the same pier camera. I've got the little Sky Watcher, that little green dovetail plate on there that works great. Here's a system that in dealing with the issues with the cable wrap, through a couple of friends, they said, somehow you've got to polar align the cable so that it's in a straight line so it doesn't get wrapped around the base or around the telescope. So there's the cable. It's going up through that cable management clip, and there's a second clip on the north wall that holds it. So as the Seestar spins in EQ mode, the cable is not wrapping, it's straight, so it's turning as the scope is coming up. So I, with some friends, innovated that idea, and it's worked well. Here's the Seestar bar. I think Craig took this picture when he, this is in the very first days of the Seestar bar, back then when I think there was less than 10 Seestars there. Here's my Seestar in the right here, and they started putting them on this Seestar bar, and you could see below the Kasa IP Power Strip, you could see the Macs are strapped with tie wraps to the wall. There's my Mac Mini, I think it's down here, and that's how everybody started controlling their Seestars. I did put a video out on YouTube that to this day, it's I see these people that put out a video and like half an hour later they've got 32,000 views. My video's been out for a year and like a half, and it's got barely 3,000 views. But the people that have watched it have really highly engaged with it, because I get emails from people all over the world, from a gentleman in Portugal, in New York, people in France that have contacted me and say, I saw your video, how you did this, and I'm going to do it. And I go, wow, this is it's something's going on here. And today there's quite a few Seestars. I think over 60 or 70 Seestars at Starfront. Let's see here. Breakdown of the cost. This is even a little lower price now. So roughly $550 for the Seestar, the Mac Mini, $500 to $600. The EQ wedge, the William Optics, it's the priciest one. It's $220. You can get a Sky Watcher for $90, and it does the same job. it was sold out. Skywatcher was sold out, and I didn't want to wait, so I paid for the William Optics. The Pier camera, $225. They set it up and mounted it and everything. Kasa IP Power Strip, $50. So $1,545. Today, ZWO has realized that their product is being used in a remote environment, and they've added a new telescope network feature built in natively to the app, so that you actually don't need the Mac Mini anymore. So you subtract $500 from this. Now you're around $1,000. Today we have the S30. This is the S30 Pro. I want to thank my friend Brian Garhammer, who let me borrow this. He was supposed to be here. He had some issues. He couldn't make it to the Winter Star Party. And but the S30 Pro, you could buy an S30 today for $350. And I'm saying to myself, that's the highest bang for buck ratio that I think is available on the market today. And that is being used at Starfront. There's quite a few people with S30s. And I'm sure the S30 Pros will be coming online soon. But so under $1,000, you can have an astrophotography imaging rig that you can use and access from anywhere in the world, as long as there's internet connectivity. And this is something that I've been very excited about, and people have approached me and said, friends of mine, it's like, hey, I saw what you did. I've got a friend in West Texas who's been trying to get me to go out there for 15 years. He used to live in Miami. He goes, you got to come out here, it's so beautiful, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, isn't like Texas like boring, hot, and flat? And he's like, no, man, this is like the Grand Canyon out here in Big Bend. And then I told him what I was doing at Starfront, and he goes, man, look it up. I'm in an international dark sky preserve, and I said, you know what? I never realized that. Let me go check that out. So I went over there, and let's see what we've got. So before I go there, the truth about Starfront, I'm having a lot of fun. I've amassed a terabyte of data in 7 months on a Seestar. That is a lot of data, which I don't think I'll ever get to process, and been a part of a great community on Discord. This is an interesting concept. My business that I've had for 32 years now is a business that works with phone systems, telephone systems for businesses. Well, the name of my company is Please Hold Advertising. We create phone recordings for businesses, on-hold messages with music. So if you call your bank and it's, thank you for calling Bank of America, did you know that you can get a credit line for only 2.5%? Make sure to ask your Bank of America representative about our home equity line. Thanks for holding. We'll be with you in a moment. I'm the guy on hold. I'm the guy you hate, Don't shoot. In my company, I've had it for 32 years. It's been great. It's been wonderful. I'm very, very proud of what I've done with Please Hold. But Starfront does not have a phone number. You cannot call anybody. And I say, how is this possible? You guys, what? There's like $4 million worth of equipment over there, and you can't even reach anybody on a phone? And what it is, it's this amazing thing called Discord, which is, they made me a Discord user, and I absolutely encourage everybody. There's so many things that you could do with the Discord. So everything is communicated on email and Discord, and it's a very efficient system. It is very, very efficient, and they do a great job in responding to tech support things. I learned a lot from the people on Discord. We share a lot of information. Hey, I'm having this problem. People will come. It's like, hey, I had that same problem. I did this. We help each other out. It's a community, and that's one of the biggest assets that Starfront has is the community within Discord. And then presently, I believe there's over 60 Seestar users from around the world. There's people from Europe and Asia and Canada have sent their Seestars over there. And so I know I'm going on about Starfront here, but they have made this hobby. This is an image of, this was what, maybe 9 months ago?
More than that, probably like a year, more than a year ago.
More than a year ago, so there was only 5 buildings. These were the first 2 buildings. And for the longest while, I thought maybe Bray's dyslexic or something, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like, what's the numbering up? I could name this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something, but whatever. This is 1 and 2, and it's 3, 4, 5, right?
2, 1, 3, 4, 5.
2, 1, 3, 4, 5. Go figure. So, but this is in the early stages, and there's out in the middle of the desert. It's very dark, and you know, I really want to thank these guys. Not only for me, but they've brought a lot of people. Kevin here from you know, Southern Cross you got his scope over there, and a lot of people that have had their scopes locked up in their apartment and their houses now are getting more use out of their scopes in 2 months than they have in 2 years. Would you say that that's true? Okay, so that is something that's like very powerful. I want to show a couple of images. As much as I can talk, let's get down to some brass tacks here. This is an image that I captured with my S50 at Starfront. This was processed. I'm not really into processing yet. I say I'm going to start learning it. This is processed by Evan Pigors from Southern, as a Southern Cross member as well. This is M33, you know, I'm still amazed, you know, the detail. And he only spent maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes on this. I called him on a short notice. Hey, can you help me out and process some images and whatnot? That's M33. This is M27, my first target that I imaged at Starfront, again by Evan Pigors, that he processed there, and still my favorite image to capture. Here is the Pleiades by Heidi Grady from England, who has an S30 at Starfront. This is with a $350 telescope. And she processed this, and she's very active on the Discord, and she does a great job. She's a great astrophotographer and imager. We've got here Craig Reardon. This is the Rosette Nebula that we all know and love, that he captured with his S50. He started out with an S50, and then he's got, I think, an ASCAR scope now, so he definitely upgraded his game over there at Starfront. We've got here another image that is captured by Stephen B. and processed by Aidan Smith. This gentleman was using the Alpaca. He wasn't using a Mac, he was using an Alpaca system to run the Seestar, and has done very well. There's a few people that have that same platform over there. This is the Whirlpool Galaxy, again by Stephen B., and processed to show the image. It looks a little bit blown out here on the screen. Like, I don't know why it's. I'm seeing a little like brightness that I'm not seeing in my MacBook Air.
Everybody's been having trouble with that.
Yeah, because on the MacBook Air, it looks a lot cleaner. It looks way better on the MacBook Air than here. So, but I'll continue on. Let's see here. This is my feeble attempt at the Rosette Nebula with, like, I think the first time I tried it, yeah, that looks wild. That looks compared to what's on the MacBook Air. Using Graxpert and Lightroom, and, you know, just fumbling through it and stuff like that. But let's see here. A couple images straight out of the Seestar. There's a globular cluster. This is the veil, a part of the veil in Cygnus in there. Again, it looks very blown out there. But straight out of the Seestar, the images are quite good. You know, if you would dedicate some time to processing them. Here's the Horsehead with the Flame Nebula, and you know, I was very happy, and I think that a lot of people I've spoken with 10 years ago, if they could produce an image like this out of their telescope with the technology that they had back 10 years ago, they would be like, I've done it, I've reached nirvana, you know, I'm happy with this, you know, and this can be, you know, made even better, you know, that's just me. That's, okay, here's an image Bray processed. I sent him the data on M42. I turned it sideways so I can make it fit. But look at this, man. I mean, this is something. Bray is masterful in his skill to process using PixInsight, and I know you're a big Photoshop guy. And it's just, this is with a $500 telescope, ladies and gentlemen. This is something, yes, sir?
Carlos, what's a typical exposure time for this?
Well, this is with the EQ mode. It's about 20, on average, the 20-second exposures that I'm using when it's in equatorial mode. Yeah, 20 seconds. At times I've gotten it to 30 seconds, but it rejects a little bit more of the frames, over 20%. But at 20 seconds, it does a pretty good job. And those are 20-second exposures on this here. But the amount of detail here is amazing.
How much time are you capturing on each target? You're using Bortle 1?
Yeah, it's a Bortle 1. So this one, you know, I can't quite remember. I don't know. This is probably a few hours only of imaging over there at Starfront. Here is the Horsehead that Bray also edited and processed. And again, just a beautiful image that I very happy and very proud that Bray Falls was able to process this image. And it just goes to show, I think that a lot of the beauty in this is in the post-processing. The instrument is quite capable of getting good data, of getting quality data. And then what you can do with it and process it and stretch it and really push it and get a quality image like this is amazing, you know. And I'll continue on here. This is M31. You know, everybody takes pictures of M31, but this is my first image of M31. It's like, wow, I can't believe it. I could get the dust lanes in M31. This is straight out of the Seestar. I know there's all kinds of jazz and stuff going around in the corners and stuff, but I was like mesmerized by the fact that I could do this, you know. I couldn't get anywhere like that in Miami, or let alone have enough time without having rain or massive humidity that I'd have to shut down the scope. But this is M31 here, straight out of the Seestar. Now I want to talk about what I've done at my friend's place in Big Bend. I have taken what I've learned in remote imaging, and my friend is like, you know, please come out here and set up a couple scopes, and you know, I want to see this, you know. And so this is what I call the mini Seestar Observatory. This is a plastic patio storage box from Lowe's home, and it costs about $90. That's a brick. That's a brick. That's a real brick there, and another piece of so there. I know it looks primitive, but it really holds down the Seestar. Let me tell you, it really anchors it. You're talking 33 pounds of mass right there underneath the Seestar, and right now, this is being handled. The lid is being removed manually. I text him and say, hey man, if you're not busy, can you take the lid? Yeah, sure. They take the lid, or his girlfriend, hey Carlos, I'll take out the lid. It takes the lid off, leave it open all night. It's only rained one time since September, since this has been there. I looked it up, and I looked up, and Google said, oh, the average rainfall is something like 20 inches a year. And I told Charlie, he goes, I've been out here for 20 years. It's 6 inches a year. And it ain't 20 inches, maybe a long time ago. Not to say that it can't, but so it hardly ever rains. It's very dry. Ideally, you want it in a dry environment. But I've got an S50 and I've got an S30 in there, and the IP Power Strip over there, and I can log into it. And I'm using these little cheap cameras as a Pure Cam that's a pan tilt. I can move it around and manipulate. I've got another one that's pointing straight up, and I'm using it as an all-sky cam. This is all on a shoestring, you know, you know, getting this to work. And here's a few images that I've gotten from Big Bend. You know, star cluster, the Horsehead with the flame, and M45, the usual suspects here. And again, it's looking kind of blown out on the screen, but it looks a lot better on the MacBook Air. Here's a little collage of some of the images. The moon, the fireworks. I love this. This is one of my favorites. The veil, and whatnot. The butterfly cluster, my favorite open cluster, and of course Orion there. And okay, I want to thank my friend Charlie. This is Charlie. He does guided tours in Big Bend area, the #1 guide in the Big Bend area. This is the website, Angel Expeditions. He does a great job. He knows every bird, every turtle, every animal, everything about every rock in every canyon in this place. I have never seen somebody so obsessed with this, and it's a testament to his passion. He guides people on the Rio Grande, and it's really something special. So he's allowed me to put it over there as a favor, really, and whatnot. Now I want to talk about something very exciting that I'm involved with. I'm involved in a lot of exciting things with the Seestar. I have, through it's kind of a long story, was able to get 2 Seestars into Zimbabwe, Africa, through my friend Brian Garhammer, who allowed me to bring the S30 Pro. He's a member of Southern Cross. He's a retired pilot, commercial pilot, and he knows a lot of pilots. And I met him through the WhatsApp chat. I never met him in person. And I was asking if anybody had a heavy-duty stand for a Celestron telescope. I wanted to buy it because I was getting a lot of shaking in my 8SE. And I had never seen him on the WhatsApp. And then all of a sudden, this guy pops up, Brian Garham, and he goes, "I got one, and if you come pick it up, you can have it for free." And I go, "Really? Okay." It turns out he lives a mile from my house. I go over him. We start hanging out, and I told him what I'm doing at Starfront with the telescopes, and he goes, "You know, I got a friend that lives in Africa who's into astronomy. You know, he doesn't really know too much about it, but do you think you could send, I mean, what you did over there in Texas, could you do that in Zimbabwe?" And I said, if there's an internet there, a Starlink or something, he goes, "Yeah." He's got like 3 or 4 Starlinks. He's got a big chunk of property out there. And I go, "Yeah, man, why not?" And he goes, "He's in the process of looking to buy an airplane." And I said, "Oh, I know. I think I know where you're going with this." He said, "I'm going to talk to him, and I'm going to see if when he's tasked me with finding the airplane, my friend Brian, to find out. He's looking for a Cessna 208 Caravan airplane." And so what follows is the story. So this is where the location is. This is a Lake Kariba. It's the largest man-made lake as a result of a dam on the continent of Africa. It's over here on the north side of the lake, very close to the border with Zambia, on the Zambezi River. This is the inlet to the dam right there. And this is where my S50, actually it's Brian's S50, is located. He donated his. This is the S50 in the box, again, using the plastic box. We've got a 220 to 110 converter there, a little USB fan, a pan tilt camera inside, another one on the outside. It's on the roof of John's office overlooking this massive, massive lake, Lake Kariba on there. And this is where the Seestar is located. There is a Starlink Wi-Fi connected there, very reliable, and it works very well. And right now, unfortunately, it's the rainy season because it's their summer, it's our winter, so that's the Southern Hemisphere. And I said to myself, you know, this is the dream of anybody who's in this hobby, is to be or to visit the Southern Hemisphere. I have never visited the Southern Hemisphere, but I have a telescope, this S50 with Brian, and I have an S30 that I have not set up yet over there. When I went to go with Brian, they were loading up the airplane. I took my S30 because I don't leave the house without my little S30. You never know when it's going to be a clear night wherever you are, and I took it with me. And I'm there, and I said to myself, you know, the S50 is going. I have this S30. I feel like I need to ask John if I could put the S30 on the airplane as well. And he looked at it, he goes, of course, that thing is tiny. That thing is, of course, please. I think it's a great idea. He told me, please, by all means, let's put it on the airplane. So we put it on the airplane. So we have an S50 and an S30 in Zimbabwe. It's hot over there, so we wrapped it up. And I sent all this stuff having done this in Big Bend, I learned a lot of things. The box itself will overheat in the sunlight. So my friend Charlie came up with the idea, get the aluminum foil like wrapping, like you put in your windshield, your car. Problem solved. Instantly, no more overheating. And I have never overheated since the box is wrapped up like that. The problem we're having now is baboons. There are baboons in Zimbabwe, and there are baboons all throughout Africa. And the baboons, Tronic, who is the person that is handling the telescope, works for John, the owner of the property, has texted me, and he's a very nice gentleman. Sir, there are baboons touching the box. They are curious, and they keep looking from the trees at the box, and because they may think it's food or something. I've seen it's a big problem in Zimbabwe that they're looking for food and water and stuff. So the box, so he built a metal cage around it. Now we have a metal cage around it. This is Brian on the left here. That's us at the Zoo Miami with a solar scope. I'm on the solar committee for Southern Cross Astronomical Society. On Saturdays, I take the Coronado solar scope out to Zoo Miami to do some outreach and stuff. And here's Brian, working on the airplane. He worked on this airplane for close to 7 months, and he's a stickler for details. And aviation, you have to be, and he is, So through his friend, here's a picture of John, the property owner in Zimbabwe. There's my S30. That it was like, goodbye S30, you're going to Africa. And I packaged it, and that's the airplane. That's a Cessna 208 Caravan. And I thought, oh, you're going to fly across the Atlantic, and you should be there in a day or two, right? And then I'm like hanging out there, like, no, Carlos, we have to go up into Maine, go into Quebec, go into Goose Bay, cross the Labrador Sea, into Greenland, go into Iceland, into Scotland, and then work our way down through Europe. And then they hopped from the United Arab Emirates into Africa. They were in Ethiopia, and then Ethiopia, somewhere Botswana, and then they hopped into Zimbabwe. John is the pilot, Captain John Simpson. He, along with a ferry pilot, they took this plane and flew it back to Zimbabwe with a bunch of other gear and stuff, but is my S30 on there. So that was an interesting ordeal there. This is a process. This is an image. This is NGC 2070, the Tarantula Nebula in the Large Magellanic Cloud, taken with the Seestar S50 in Zimbabwe. It is something that I still am. The first time that we connected the S50 and it went live, I was almost like shaking. I can't believe this, that I'm about to image something in the Southern Hemisphere. This was not the first image. This is the first image. I think is going to be the next one. I actually imaged, I like globular clusters. I'm a kind of globular guy. And the first image that's the first image. That was 47 Toucan A. This is Caldwell 85. Something about this cluster mesmerizes me. I don't know what it is, but this is, excuse me?
There's a puppy looking at you.
Is it?
It's a Chihuahua puppy.
A Chihuahua puppy, okay. I'll take your word for it. Barbara, here's the raw image of the previous of the NGC 2070 there. Again, this monitor is, I don't know why it looks kind of blown out there, but my website is Star Pictures Miami. I've got a lot of images on there. And let's see, boarding here. Here is an image I'm very proud of. Dan Becker, thank you for processing this image. This is the Eta Carina from Zimbabwe. I've been able to image, you could get it here at the Winter Star Party, and I've imaged it last year. I was blown away the fact that we could capture this target from here, but that's why a lot of people come here, to be able to capture this beautiful, just a mesmerizing, very, very bright, nebula. So it's something that we target this, Centaurus A, Omega Centauri, and things like that. But thank you, Dan, for processing this. And, the Mini Telescope Observatory. This is a new project I'm working on. I'm working on a lot of things. I hope my wife doesn't feel neglected, or my kids don't feel neglected. I love them very much. And my wife is here. She's been very supportive of all these ideas. Out of necessity, I wanted to automate the opening and closing, because my friend Charlie in Big Ben is like, Carlos, I love you, man, but bro, in the beginning this was fun. Now this is like taking care of a dog. It's like I gotta, open and close it. I feel guilty if we go out to dinner sometimes and I forgot to open the box, and sometimes I've actually turned around and told Bibi, we gotta go back and open up the box, It's like, yeah, forget about it. Carlos will be fine. He's it's just one night. But so this is a box. I came up with this idea after seeing Starfront's models with the buildings. I said, this in a much smaller scale, I made this roll-off rail here. This is just a V-grooved rail with the metal wheels that are V-grooved in the bottom. And I was getting quotes from companies on how to add the motorized component with a rack and pinion system and an Arduino computer and all this weather system sensors. And I was just telling people, man, for now all I want to is open it and close it. That's all I want. And nobody was listening to me. It's like, well, with everything and all this jazz and all this, it's $3,500. I go, no. The box is $90, my friend. I ain't gonna spend $3,500 on this. And I called up Dan and I sent him a picture of and the video of it, of me pushing the lid open. And he says to me, he goes, I got it, man. You'll be able to do this for under 250 bucks. And I go, what? 250 bucks, max. So his genius idea was this linear actuator on the top, and it's controlled by a little computer that didn't require any programming at all. All it does is open and close a switch. That's all it does. And it has a Wi-Fi capability on my app on my phone. And I can open and close this. This is a video. I don't know if it's going to play. Let's see here. There it goes. So the actuator is retracting the arm there, and will expose an S30 in the box. It's a little slow. I got to work on that, but it's 45 seconds to open and close it. This is a prototype of, and I just, out of the necessity of trying to alleviate my friend from having to deal with the box and everything, and that's how it works, like that. And again, it speaks to the power of an organization like Southern Cross. The fact that we are connected on WhatsApp in person, and I can go and I can say, listen, I have this problem. Can you help me? And Dan is a great example. And thank you, Dan, very much for this idea. And I'm working on that there. Let me see. I don't know why it's not going to the next slide here. Questions. We finally reached the portion of the questions. Does anybody have any questions?
How do you manage the on-off switch on
The on-off switch on the Seestar. Great question. At Starfront, that's like probably the #1 question. How do you? Well, quite frankly, in the beginning, I would just leave the Seestar on. My Seestar at Starfront has been on continuously for a year and a half. It's only been powered down maybe 6 times. And so somebody came up, they said, there's this little thing, a Switchbot, this little button pusher thing that you could, it's designed to turn on and off light switches in your house. And the Switchbot is this little black thing with an adhesive that in a little finger comes out and presses the button and then retracts. As primitive as it sounds, it works very well, and it can be controlled via Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So I was kind of a late adopter with it. I was like, I just submit a ticket, and one of the support guys at Starfront will come and turn it on or turn it off, and we're done, right? But I said to myself, sometimes it could take a day for they have over 600 telescopes there. Now, they have grown exponentially. What these people have done in 18 months, I have never seen in a business, and so I said, you know what, I'm going to get the Switchbot. So to answer your question, Larry, the Switchbot, it's a little thing, costs about, I don't know, 38, 45 bucks or something like that, and you can set the amount of time to push the button. So you can set it from like 1 second up to 10 seconds to hold the button down. I set it for 4 seconds on the Seestar, and it works quite well. So I can power cycle it and things like that. I hope that in the future ZWO will add the ability to power cycle the Seestar. I understand turning it on from a dead, off, it would be difficult. But if it's on, after it reboots, after a firmware update, can't you do that pretty easy? That would seem like it would be an easy thing to do. I would love to have the ability. That would be one of my suggestions, if ZWO could add that feature, just a reboot, restart the Seestar remotely. So, any other questions? Yes, sir.
When are you planning on putting the first Seestar in space?
When am I planning on putting on the first Seestar in space? That's a good one. We've joked at the Discord about like putting Seestars on the moon, or something like that. But the heat and the direct sunlight would probably melt them in in a couple of hours. The Seestar, I love it also for solar. I'm so glad that they've gone with white now, because if you have an S50 and you've ever done solar and it's out there for, Tony, be careful, because if you touch that thing, you could very well burn your hands. It's so hot. This thing barely gets warm. I could leave it out there for 6 hours and it's still just almost cool to the touch. I love that about the, that would be another suggestion, ZWO. Don't make any more black Seestars, That's just my 2 cents for the guy with a few brain cells left, that could talk about some ideas on there. But yes, that's, we don't have any firm plans for the moon yet, but who knows? We'll have to get in touch with NASA for that one, or SpaceX. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I live in a city and, I don't have any dark skies or not. The area I'm from, southeastern Indiana, I've got a cousin that's got a very dark farm.
Yes.
And I always thought, boy, I could go up there. Is this something that I could do from my house and her farm, even if I had to have her go out and open the door and turn it on?
Yes.
I mean, is it feasible for something that small scale? I mean, this is out of my league, but I'm just wondering if it's feasible for something like that.
Thank you for that question, and the answer is absolutely yes. You can have it. That's what is very similar to my situation with my friend in Big Bend. He has a large piece of land with dark skies and high-speed internet. One thing I discovered about Texas is there's a lot of fiber in Texas, and you guys have high-speed fiber because there's so much, the oil fields. So there's fiber everywhere. And I go, oh, thank you, oil business, because they need to put out rigs in any part of Texas. So it's amazing. There's fiber out in Redford, Texas, where my friend is. There's fiber out there. But yes, you can absolutely send a Seestar over there. If you have any questions about doing that, I can help you with that. I'm starting to get like a little bit of a consulting business with regards to using the Seestar. Right now, the Seestar maybe dwarfs in the future, because a lot of people have approached me and said, Carlos, I want to do this because I own a property in Hawaii, and I'd like to leave a Seestar over there, my property in Hawaii. And I go, absolutely, you could do it, and you could log into it from your iPhone. So it's a beautiful thing. There are no more barriers to where you can have a remote telescope. You can download the images. It's exactly the same way as you control it from your smartphone here, right next to the Seestar, as if it's 5,000 miles away. It's the same thing. It works flawlessly, and it really is.
Thank you.
Yeah, very powerful. Thank you for your question. Yes. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you very much. You've all made me feel very welcome here. Thank you. Yes, yes. And Bray asked me to mention that tonight over at the vendor tent, they're going to have some Seestars connected. Well, like 5 monitors or 5
tablets.
5 tablets. So Seestars, you'll be able to see a live imaging from the Seestar tonight over there, starting at about maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock when it's dark enough. Texas is an hour behind, so I always have to wait an hour more, and I'm like, come on, an hour, let's go, an hour. And so around 8:30, 9 o'clock, it'll be dark in Texas, and you can see these beautiful images live, and they'll pick different targets, you know. What's on the menu? What targets are on the menu?
I was just going to let people image whatever they wanted.
Oh, so you'll be able to just, let's see the horse head. Okay, do the horse head. Great. Excellent. Thank you very much. This has been an honor and a pleasure to be here. I'm a very proud member of Southern Cross Astronomical Society. You know, my website is Star Pictures Miami. My email is starpicturesmiami@gmail.com. And I'm a member of Southern Cross Astronomical Society, the second oldest astronomical society in the United States. Started and founded in 1922 in South Florida, in Miami. Because this used to be a very dark place, believe it or not, back in 1922, and people in this hobby would come down and to get away from all the lights. And also I do consulting for affordable remote imaging consulting. If you need any help with the Seestar or anything like that, and you have a house or your second property, you want to do that, you can definitely reach out to me. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.